Hi everyone, this is Ashley here and again welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to discuss the story of newly released movie He Killed in Ecstasy. So, let's get started. The cast and crew work together to create a movie that tells a story and engages viewers. The film, He Killed in Ecstasy, is about a young doctor named Dr. Johnson who commits suicide after a medical committee terminates his research into human embryos, considering it too inhumane. His wife, Mrs. Johnson, is devastated by her husband's death and vows to get revenge on the members of the medical committee. She begins by seducing each member of the committee and then killing them one by one. Her grip on reality begins to slip and she becomes increasingly irrational as she approaches her goal. After being captured and brought to justice, she exacts revenge on the men who killed her husband. He Killed in Ecstasy is a gripping and dark thriller that follows the chilling journey of Mrs. Johnson, a woman driven to seek vengeance for her husband's tragic demise. Dr. Johnson, a brilliant young doctor, dedicated his life to researching human embryos. However, his work is met with opposition, and a medical committee decides to terminate his research, deeming it too ethically questionable and inhumane. Unable to cope with the failure and rejection, Dr. Johnson succumbs to despair and commits suicide, leaving his wife, Mrs. Johnson, shattered and grief-stricken. Devastated by the loss of her husband, Mrs. Johnson finds herself consumed by an overwhelming desire for revenge against those responsible for the committee's decision. She believes they are responsible for pushing her husband to his death, and she is determined to make them pay for their actions. Mrs. Johnson devises a cunning and sinister plan to exact her revenge. She begins by seducing each member of the medical committee one by one, using her charm and allure to get close to them. Once she gains their trust, she systematically eliminates them, leaving a trail of death and chaos in her wake. As her killing spree continues, her grip on reality starts to slip, and she becomes increasingly unhinged, driven solely by her thirst for vengeance. The story takes a dark and twisted turn as Mrs. Johnson's pursuit of retribution becomes more and more desperate. The lines between right and wrong blur, and she descends into a state of irrationality and madness. With each killing, the noose tightens around her, and she becomes the subject of a citywide manhunt. As the law closes in on her, Mrs. Johnson's obsession with revenge intensifies. She becomes a formidable force, cunningly evading capture while taking down the men she holds responsible for her husband's death. Yet, the cost of her revenge weighs heavily on her conscience, and the collateral damage left behind becomes increasingly evident. Eventually, the law enforcement authorities manage to capture her, and she faces justice for her actions. The trial is gripping, as the motives behind her killings are unveiled, revealing the depths of her grief and desperation. The movie culminates in a gripping courtroom scene where Mrs. Johnson confronts the men who killed her husband and delivers a hauntingly powerful message about the consequences of their decisions. He Killed in Ecstasy is a harrowing exploration of grief, revenge, and the thin line between justice and madness. It delves into the darkness of human nature and the devastating consequences that can arise from unchecked emotions. The film keeps viewers on the edge of their seats, questioning the boundaries of morality and the price of seeking revenge. If you like the video, do subscribe the channel for more related videos. Thank you.